Hi all you beautiful people.
Hello everybody.
We're going to try to make the next video
Mm.
and see how we go. And the last one we made was about losing ourselves in each other. And so we talked about doing a video today about moving from the old relationship and into the new one. And to just say this short, for most people, we start off with a dependency relationship where all the patterns from our childhood are controlling the way we act, the way we do everything. And those patterns sort of merge into each other, and then you have a system going. And that makes you each feel safe. And it might not be happy at all, and usually it is not happy, and you don't feel free, but you just keep doing it. And then at some point, often people will leave each other because it starts to get very painful and not loving. And for some of us, and luckily many of us, we start to awaken to our soul, and we realize that we are not just a result of our upbringing and a whole lot of patterns. We are actually a soul, and we actually this inner being that is living here on earth. And we actually wish to live together with our husband as a soul. So as I see it, it's the spiritual awakening that happens. And so you go from a dependency relationship and you work through a process where you come into an awakened relationship, where you are two awakened people. And so we just thought we would just talk from where we are now, because we are still... I just have to turn the camera a little bit because I can see the sun shining on it, I think.
Okay.
Then you're
You can't see me.
you left the camera. Sorry.
Okay.
Just getting there. Because I think the sun was shining. Just take this down. It's a bit stupid. Yeah, we're trying to sit outside because it's wonderful outside, but it might be a bit too noisy and messy. Yeah, so it's about going from the person we were before to a new way of being yourself.
Yeah.
So do you want to start to tell a little bit about what happened to us, or just whatever you want to say?
Oh yeah.
You feel
I'm
this-
not prepared for this.
No, I'm not either.
Okay. So I just try to speak from my intuition of what I can feel that it's good to talk about.
It's good.
There was a time where I didn't know you. I met you about 30 years ago. And at that time I had known other women. But I got in love with you. I felt there was something. You had a very big desire to get me.
Yeah.
And that desire was, I felt really filled up with love, and I was like a sun in your eyes. And that sun
you mean
disappeared.
a shining sun?
A shining sun.
Oh, yeah.
A shining sun. You filled me up with love. You gave me a lot of love.
Yeah.
So my self-esteem, before it was, I don't know, that big, it became 10 times bigger than it were before. And what happened when we started having problems in our relation? Suddenly I felt that sun, slowly that sun I had in myself started to get cloudy. It didn't shine so much anymore. And then now I have realized that sun you gave me, or you gave a sort of make me feel to be a son. I had to look for the sun inside myself. Can I say it in that way?
Yeah.
I had to get.
We're talking
Where
about.
can I find the
excuse
sun?
me. We're just talking as if it's just sun and sun is two.
Sun,
so it's
sun,
not.
sunshine.
It's a
sun,
sunshine.
not a sun.
Yeah.
Not a,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
sun.
You are not my son. No.
A
You
sun.
are sun.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
No.
You are
a
shining
sun. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's the same pronouncing sun and sun. Yeah. What I had realized in that process, to say it shortly, what had happened between us, it was I had to walk on a long journey by myself, to walk out, to get away from, to go away from here, to go away from your place, from your love in a way. And I tried not to find that love in other women, because I knew deepest from my deepest inside that you would be the woman I love. I didn't want to look for other women. Of course, I saw other women. There were also women, I had told you before, who were attracted to me, but I was not interested in them. And I realized that journey was not to find another woman. It was to find the shining sun inside myself. And I think I'm still on that journey. I'm still. I had to every day. In fact, I have to remind myself about that I am a shining sun. I am the sun that Katrine doesn't need to fulfill my self-esteem. And you don't do it anymore, so it's natural. So you don't do it. So in a way that made I thought in the beginning the journey was very hard. I went away from the home for 1.5 months. I stayed on another place, and then I met a man. He said to me, "You must have a very lovely woman, a lovely wife, who give you that gift to send you away, so you can become even a better human being, a better man for her. That must be fantastic." And then I realized that I thought that you were punishing me like a mother punishing. That was the son punishing me. It was not. I was kicked out by you in a way, but it was not a dirty boot. It was in a way from your heart.
Yeah.
To my heart. On that journey, I also learned that something about my childhood, about my relation to my father and mother. I get to know on that journey that to love Katrine, I had to love my father and mother. Now they are dead, but love them as they were, or as they are now. To make that love come to myself, because of course my father and mother loved me, but that love wasn't shown to back to them, not in a good way. I think I was not so nice towards them as I should be or could be. So, but some people say it's never too late to forgive and give your love back to those people who you have betrayed, or those people you haven't loved so much. So in a meditation, the man who were leading this meditation said, imagine 3 men that you are or have been close to. Imagine those 3 men standing in front of me. And the first man who came to me in that meditation, it was my father. It was my father's hand, warm hand. And I could feel I got really alive inside, really filled with joy, also sorrow, but mostly joy. And tears started falling from my eyes, and it was fantastic. It was my father, and then it was two other men. All of them are dead now. But then I realized that he gave me something very of very big value. In a way, he said, "I love you," with that warm hand. Even he never said it with words. And that's one of my team. My issues from my childhood. It is there was not so much talking about feelings. There was not putting words on how are you and what have you discovered today. How do you feel? It was not an issue in my family. So I had to start to learn to talk about feelings, to get to know myself better.
Can I just please say something?
Yeah.
That in your family, you said they didn't talk about feelings, and is it not right? They did not express feelings so much.
No, it was hidden. There must have been some feelings, but they were in a way. It wasn't expressed.
Yeah.
It was not like in Italian movies or other movies where you're shouting and
Angry.
throwing angry.
Happy.
No. It was more
Suppressed.
suppressed, yeah. So meeting you was like meeting a person full of feelings. In a way, I needed those feelings when I can see it now. You gave me that gift that in the beginning, you were the person who were going to put words on feelings and also my feelings. But the job for me now is it has still been, is to express those feelings myself and be more fulfilled and dare to be angry, especially angry if I am angry. Or dare to will also be loving, dare to show you with words, not just with my body, but also with words and maybe especially with the eyes to show, to think, or not to think, but when I look into your eyes, I can see now you are a sun, you are a shining sun. And I'm also a sun. We are two shining suns. So, it has been a big discovery that my wife, in effect, is not only a wife and not only a partner, but she's also, in a way, a teacher who teaches me how to love myself. But she is not going to teach me the whole way. Maybe she's going to point to me or trigger me, and then I had to find out myself which sides of myself haven't I really developed, and can I be with myself and with my own feelings, meeting other men, talking with them about feelings. Then I think I can be a more whole man and more satisfied with myself. And if Katrine, by accident, maybe don't wake up in the morning and is dead, or something happened with you, it will be very sad for me. But my life wouldn't stop there. My life is very rich, is very full of what I could live without you, but I wouldn't do it. So what I'm trying to say is that I think the best way to love you and to love another woman is to be yourself, to be myself, to be satisfied with my own life, and not to be perfect, because there's a lot of places in my life where you can say, well, it's not perfect, but maybe also be aware of I'm not perfect, but I try my best to do this and this, not to please you, but to be to be a better man in a way. So it's a long journey. Maybe it never stops. Maybe it will go on till I become a very old man. I think it's a big process. Was it that we should talk about it?
No, it was the wrong subject. No,
Okay.
it was. Thank you very much.
What
That
was
was
the subject,
very
yeah?
touching and
Okay.
it was very wonderful. And you touched these different things about just where you're standing, and that's the most important thing, because there's many different subjects that are going on at the same time, and you can focus on one or the other, but you have really told where you are and what has been important, and just some of your story, and it is about this. That we moved from the old relationship and we're moving into a new one, where we are no longer dependent on, like, just to give a little picture, that when I make you a cup of coffee, you feel happy, and then you feel loved, and then you can give me a hug because I gave you the cup of coffee. That type of dependency was there all the time in everything we did. So I felt I was more or less saying the same things all the time, and when I said something you would say something else, and it just kept repeating itself. And so one day I could feel that this has to stop, and I stopped saying things that I used to say. I stopped making the coffee, I stopped doing things, and suddenly everything had to change. And so we can go back to that one day, but just to take what you were talking about, that you realize that I was this very emotional person, and the emotions that I showed were really yours, but you couldn't show them. So in that dependency relationship we used to have, and which often is in most dependency relationships, one is the talker, one is the quiet one. One is the money spender, one is the saving one. And you have this, that makes a balance, because you're not both the talkers, you're not both the money spenders. But then you realize that this is not healthy, because I'm also a talker, or I also have emotions. So I cannot be the emotions for you anymore. So when you wake to your spirit, you realize that I have to play on all the keys on the piano. I can't just play on some of them, because I have my what my wife has or what my husband has. I have also inside me.
Yeah.
So I have to develop, and that was for me, was to be a more quiet person, more listening, more calm.
You broke the practice. Instead of talking about how to make a new marriage, you did.
I just stopped.
You did. Yeah, you just stopped. You did it in practice. So suddenly I have, because you changed your behavior, then
You were forced.
I had to change my behavior also. In the beginning I said, oh, why that? But now I can see it's much more healthy that I can feel it's a travel, as I said before, a journey, going back to myself, going back to the person I was before I met you, and not that, because a lot of things has happened in those 30 years.
Much more mature.
Much more mature, and but not be dependent on you.
Yeah.
To be dependent on myself, and take you as not as a bonus, but as because I'm a man, I want a woman to live with, because it's something deep inside myself.
Yes.
I don't want, as I said before in another video, I do not want another boyfriend to be married with a boyfriend.
No.
And not living in, then we do this, then we take this coffee, then we go for a walk, then we do this, then we do that. Try to wake up every morning and see what will this day bring, and how can I feel which mood I'm in, and how can I express that mood towards myself and towards you.
Yeah. So it's about it's many things in this, but really to let each other go. And when you let the other one go, you actually let yourself go.
Yeah.
Because when you're dependent on another person, you're actually also holding yourself captive in a way. So you set the other person free, and you set yourself free. And so what we did practically was really, I just stopped doing everything I used to do, and Henrik more or less stood there and thought, what's going on, kind of thing. and then you started moving and shaping your life, and so everything started to become much more authentic. So if you felt like a cup of coffee, you would say, oh, I'd love to make a cup of coffee. Do you want a cup of coffee? And you might say, no, thank you, I don't want one. Or whatever it was. And so we're still practicing this, that instead of think, why didn't she say, or why didn't he do this that I wanted him to do? If you want something, say it.
Yeah.
So that's the new life that we've started now.
And
that
also-
you're authentic, and you say, if there's something you want,
Yeah.
say it. And if you have a feeling the other person didn't really understand you when you asked for it, you can ask again. And the other person might say, no, I don't want it.
And also, I before in the old marriage, I was very quick to say, yes, let's do that. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And now I'm better in saying, I have to, I said in a lovely way, I think. Darling, I just need 5 minutes, or I need an hour to feel if this is the right thing to do now.
Yeah,
And I'll come back and tell you.
yeah,
Because if in the old marriage I said yes, yes, and maybe deep inside I meant, no, I'm not in the mood for that. And then you are not really,
yeah,
you are in a false person. You're not
Yeah.
really in the now, with you, not in the flow, not in the...
you're not being authentic.
You are not authentic, no.
Yeah. So,
You are not mindful, mindful, and
Yeah.
you are dreaming about why am I sitting here. I should sit on my bike and be another place,
yeah.
for example.
Yeah, and everything gets actually very nasty, because you're not nice, because you're really doing something you don't want to do.
Yes.
So the old relationship that is pattern-based or mind-based, where you get all your drive from your mind and from habit, is fear-based. So it's like, if I don't do this, the other person might get frightened or get
Angry,
nervous,
or-
and so
yeah.
I better do this so that I don't make the other person nervous.
Yeah,
And then
or sad, yeah.
so everybody's a bit frightened, and then when you stop that and say, oh, I'll do and say what I feel is right for me.
Yeah.
So this person actually knows that here I am and here I stand. And that is actually true love.
Yeah.
The other love is not real love.
You're more clear then. You're more
Yeah.
authentic, being who you are and not dependent on the other and on the other's feeling. I'm not here to satisfy your demands or your
No.
feelings. Those feelings, maybe the sexual feelings, but and I'm not here to be for you that you should fulfill my needs.
No. Yeah.
But we can help each other, and we can
Yeah.
be to do something different things.
Yeah. So it's
If
a
you
real
ask.
it's a real challenge, and it still is for us, because the old way of being is so strong, and because of our ancestors, none of them awakened, I don't think. So they have all been living in these pattern-based, fear-based relationships. So that's what we have inherited, and that's what we've learnt. Just like eating and drinking, whatever we do, we've learnt from our parents. And so breaking with this old way of being is really, really, really hard. And you have to keep your conscience, your awareness on it all the time, because otherwise you just slide back into it and you can feel it. But luckily we know now that as soon as we can feel this coming back, we have to talk about it and just...
We have to put words on it,
Yeah.
and then it disappears in a way, or it heals,
Yeah.
because it's not dangerous anymore to talk about it.
Yeah,
So that is new for me to put words on feelings and also events, what is happening between us, between human beings. And I can see now when I go and visit other people, and there's a lot of things, issues that haven't been solved, haven't been solved.
They haven't talked about.
No, and but you can see on people's mimic and how they behave, and that's
Tension.
something. Yeah, that's something that is not good there.
Yeah.
But they haven't got words. They haven't
Yeah.
got maybe not the courage, not the ability to sit down and use words.
Yeah.
Words are fantastic in a way.
Yeah, and I think when you're in this fear-based way of being, it's so difficult. And when a problem arises, you get even more fearful, and therefore you don't talk about it at all, because oh my God, what are we going to say? But to say to yourself and to each other, let's just say, this is how I feel right now. I'm really, really, really sad, and you don't have to say why you're sad. You don't have to explain anything. You can just say, this is the way it is for me right now. I just feel like I'm exploding with sadness. And not blaming. Just say, this is how I feel.
Yeah, and not feeling is saying, that you said, a reason. There's a reason. What
You don't have to explain.
No, that doesn't need to be a reason.
No.
It can just be a lot of things inside yourself. About,
Yeah, I'll just move the camera.
Den står lige i solen.
Yeah, so we just moved in here because I want to finish the film. And the sun was a bit hot there. So this was not a very organized film.
No.
But it's shining some light on this whole thing of moving from the old type of relationship, that is dependency relationship, and moving into an awakened marriage or relationship. And I've looked at this for a long time. I looked on the internet because I'd love to hear someone talk about an awakened marriage. And there is really no couples. There are some single people talking about it, but no couples. So I hope that others can use this. And we are just, as I have said many times, that we're just really practicing this and learning this because it's very new for us both.
Yeah, it can also, you can feel awkward in a way. You can feel that suddenly I have a lot of time to do other things that I was before we did it together, or I did it for you, and suddenly you had to find out how to spend your time in another way.
Yeah.
It's another issue also.
Yeah. If you need to spend your time.
Not spend, but how to...
how to shape your life.
Shape your life, yeah.
Yeah.
That's spend. Spend. It's maybe
We don't need to use up the
bad,
time.
bad expression.
Yeah, so
how to behave, where to be, what to say, what to do, what to eat,
yeah,
when to sleep,
Yeah.
a lot of things.
yeah.
Mm.
Because we
It's
get
a big challenge in a way. It's not
It
so
isn't.
easy.
No. So that's where we are working at, and we've made these little drawings many times too. That you have these two beings, and here are you, and here am I, and then we share something. So we're not intertwined. We're not grown together like two trees that are grown together and not separate. So we're two separate beings, but we share something, and what we share must be pure and loving and honest. So, and even though there's many things that we can't share or we just can't make work well, we can focus on what can we make work well, and just go from there. And so yeah, but just always coming back to here am I and here are you, and explain this is how I feel, this is what I want. And yeah, so it's just daily practice. But this is what we want both, isn't it? To be in an aware, an awakened or aware, a relationship in awareness.
Yes.
So that's what we're
We're trying to practice.
Moving along.
Shaping a new marriage.
And one of the YouTubers actually asked if you want to make a channel.
Okay.
For me. So you can think about it. Whether it is the right thing for you to do. But if you wish to write to Henrik on this channel, you can just say "Dear Henrik," and he can answer you on my channel, so that I'm not there. I'm not in the discussion, but you just write "Dear Henrik" if you like to do that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So would that be okay?
Of course, yes.
Yeah. So you can see if
So if anybody can be helped, I think this issue you have here, Henrik and Katrine, is something for me. It's if it's a help, I think it's good if you can be helped. I think I'm helped just sitting here talking with you. It's a process for me also.
Yeah, it's very wonderful that we can do this. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. See you.